Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you're watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, and you're also listening to this episode. And today, joining us up here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks is the talented Aaron Phillips. How are you doing today, Aaron?
Oh, I'm great. I'm better now that you said that. That makes me feel
Oh,
good.
for sure, for sure. And you guys already know, always joining me are my co-hosts, Rebellious D and Trav. How you guys doing today?
Confident.
Ellen, baby.
I'm confident today, Banks.
Hey, guys, I know that y'all was probably thinking through your minds that, hey, this guy done skipped over us again. He probably ain't even going to introduce us like he did that one time.
I won't even listen.
Yeah, that one time. Try.
I won't even listen.
Try ain't gonna let that die, Banks. So.
No,
I know he's not.
Hey, that down.
Hey, Trav likes to hold on to things, and
that's right.
You know, that's just how he is.
Right.
I got something you can hold on to. Get big guy.
Whoa, Trav, we're PG here, man. Like, just take it easy.
Hey, I'm talking about
pull a
water.
couple punches.
Yeah,
all right. Okay.
Hey, I just like how
he's just trying to look out for you.
I just like how Trav's offering me water now. But D, you remember them times we would go over to Trav's house?
Oh yeah, I remember.
No water on the table.
There was water on the nightstand.
Oh yeah, that one time.
Look,
I'm not jumping in this one.
That's right. Don't be interrogating me.
Yeah.
Our man Aaron is Aaron in the interrogation room right now, man. You should be talking to him.
Hey, he's in the leveling
I
up.
look like I'm in like a.
Where is he?
Right. Don't I? Yeah, it's
actually
my booth. But
I'm waiting for the light to start swinging. Where were you on July 12th?
Hey, before we get in today's interview, and everybody that's watching at home, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks.
Podcast in the description. Like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Take us in.
Hey, let's go ahead and get into it. So, Aaron, again, I just want to say thank you for joining us up here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. You know, it's always a pleasure when, you know, I can just slide in somebody's DMs and they're just like, hey, I want to come up here. So I appreciate you joining us today.
Oh, cheers, man. Thanks for having me. I'm
a lot of sliding.
Yeah, I'm very slidey.
Yeah, I can already tell that this interview is going to be great, just like The Great Pretender, but we'll get to that later on.
Oh yeah, we will.
Yeah. See, smooth segue already.
Hey, that's what we do up here, man.
Slid right on into it.
Hey, you see, I'm dressing nice because, like I said earlier before we started recording, it's not every day that you get Laurent up here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, and you know he's a very smooth talking man, and he dresses nice, and also, I mean. You guys can see in the slideshow, you know, our guest Aaron. I've seen some of the pics online. You know, you look real good in the tux, man. You look real good.
Cheers. Mm-hmm. Appreciate that. You know, everybody looks good in a tux, though.
So before we dive into the interview, something that we do up here is we ask all of our guests, you know, what is their origin story? Every hero or villain has one. So tell everybody, who is Aaron Phillips?
Aaron Phillips was born in a sewer drain that had collected this radioactive goo, and it resulted in the behemoth of handsomeness that you see before you.
I like that.
I'm from Baltimore originally, but I skipped around a lot. My mom was a professor of audiology, so she taught at a few different schools. So I lived in Wisconsin for a little while, got a taste of the cold, and didn't care for it. So we moved on down to North Carolina, and my folks still live down there. I went to college there, finished high school. And then after that, you know, I kept skipping around kind of. I did some regional theater after college, and then and actually when I went to college, I studied classical voice. That's something, I don't know, maybe semi-interesting about me. Yes. But it's actually, it's an important part of my story because it really, you know, exploring that kind of singing really, I think opens up a lot of, it gives you access to a lot of other parts of your voice that maybe you wouldn't have explored previously. You know, you have no problem finding that kind of resonance and that, you know, which is like, I don't know, I think deadly important for voiceover. So, so that I got to give a lot of credit to that. And, but yeah, and then I lived in South Korea for a year. Nice. I was hired as an actor, singer there for an English language educational theme park called English Village. And it's like a total immersion program for the children of South Korea, so they can learn English a little easier. And I actually ended up being the head of production, or head of I was like sort of the producer of new shows. It was the interactive like shows in English, that kind of thing. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then
Must have been an experience.
it was something. Yeah, I lived there for a full year, and we had like 4 weeks of paid vacation, so I got to hop around Southeast Asia a bunch.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool. It was great, and I was still pretty young. I was right out of college, you know, so I was.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
feeling, it was super cool. It was a great place to be. Got back, lived in LA for a couple of years, and then hopped over to New York, which was always the plan. And I've been. I actually live in Jersey now, but I lived in the city for like 13 years and just moved out here. And yeah, and that's it. I don't know. Do a lot of voiceover, do a lot of stage work, do a fair amount of film and TV stuff as well. That's kind of starting to ramp up lately, so that's been cool.
Oh yeah, we seen that stage.
Oh
Yeah, we seen the stage stuff.
Seen the stage work. Okay.
Well, because it's like I do my research on everybody that we have up here, and I had found that you had a YouTube, and I had showed Trav. I was just like, "Hey, yo, check out this video," and it's just like you have an amazing singing voice, man.
Oh, cheers! Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that was my first love, you know, and I still do a lot of musical theater stuff. A lot of readings of new works in New York. My spouse is actually a musical theater writer, and they're working on several different projects. But you know, consequently, we're friends with a lot of writers in and around New York and LA, and so we end up just doing a lot of new works that way. You know, trying stuff out, see how that goes. Once they get to like workshop level, then it's really starts to get exciting. So that's pretty cool.
Now, something else that's cool about you singing, to piggyback off of what I had just said, you were in a commercial. You were in
Which one?
You were in the Peach Lipton iced tea commercial.
And true. I was Carl of Carl and Stew for the Lipton Peach iced tea campaign, which was super fun. And actually, the other guy in that commercial, the other delivery guy, is one of my best friends in the world, Chris Critelli, also an extremely talented voice actor. And he and yeah, we booked it together. We have different agents, but like when we found out what it was,
that must have been pleasant.
Stuff, we called each other and we were like, look, call your agent, see if they'll submit us together. They did. We had must have gone through 3 or 4 rounds of callbacks, and then found out we booked it together and flew out to LA. It was awesome.
Yeah,
it's an awesome commercial.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, and
it was really
I
fun.
wanted to ask you, now you guys, y'all actually did the singing in that commercial, correct?
We did, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they flew us out, and then we first day, well, not first day, but sort of first performance day, I guess, was in the studio. Laid down the track, got all that nice and sharp and perfect, and then spent, I think, the next 2 days shooting it on set. It was cool. It was a lot of fun. So it's a real ridiculous commercial, but it is super fun.
Yeah,
oh yeah.
Go ahead, Trav.
No, that's just wild though. Man, 3 days of recording and filming for a commercial that's all of a minute, a little over a minute.
Not
you know
even,
what I
30
mean?
30 seconds sharp. Yeah.
Wild. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
3 days for 30 seconds, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way it goes. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we probably spent, there's a moment in the commercial where Chris's character tosses no look, I think, tosses the thing to me. No, he tosses it to me and I no look catch it and then flip it and give it to this lady. I mean, that's real. I no look caught it, and but it took me a couple takes. So that's how you get to 3 days. Is you sit there trying to catch this stupid drink.
Director getting mad over there.
Does that remind you of anything?
Yes, it does. Back in the day, the Senzu bean.
The Senzu bean.
Yeah.
It's
Do you want to tell the story, or
did you throw it to me, or did I throw it to you?
you threw it to me?
Okay, so it's I had some Tic Tacs, and D was like, "Throw me a Tic Tac." So I had one, and then I threw it at him, and I wasn't even looking at him. I just threw it at him, and he caught it just like in Dragon Ball Z. And and I was just like, "Yo, did that really just happen?"
We used to work at a little local party store a long time ago, and we were just closing down, goofing off. I was on the register, and he just ran by and threw it. I caught it. It was great.
You were working and he was doing nothing.
I was
Just say it,
chilling.
D.
Yeah, I was chilling too. It was,
like, hey,
this guy.
I was tired, and I was just
It was awesome.
roaming the store like I always used to do at the end of the shift, and yeah, I mean that's just how it was.
Okay, you were top
You're
flight
lucky that
security.
Oh yeah, he was closing it down.
You guys had each other to see that moment, though. Like,
Oh yeah, man.
how many
Yeah.
moments do you have where like something crazy like that you do it like just have this feat of excellence that nobody sees?
Well,
And, like-
actually, it happened a second time. This was like a couple of months ago at Planet Fitness. At some of them, they give you coins to put into the massage chairs, and as you see, I'm wearing glasses right now. When I work out in the gym, I don't wear my glasses because I broke a pair one time. So the guy he gave me the coin, and like I just held my hand up and caught it, and I went to the massage chair, and I was just like, hold on. I was just like, how did I catch that? And I didn't have my glasses on. And I just thought that it was an awesome moment. And I went back up to the counter and I was just like, yo, did y'all see that? Like I caught that. And like, they weren't impressed. They was just like,
Exactly. This man tried to gloat and they shut
but
him
it was
down.
cool.
That's what it was.
It was because it's like how often does that happen? Because any other time I would have went to catch it and then it would have just dropped. But I caught it. I thought it was cool.
It
Just
is.
shoot.
Yeah, it is cool. Hey, you were right, Ben.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
right.
Thank you.
I
So,
remember
Aaron-
one time I looked through a football at somebody, hit him right in the nose. Blood
Hey.
went
man.
everywhere.
You gave him the
Oh,
Marshall.
that's excellent.
I gave him the
Marshall.
Marsha Brady. That's right.
Damn. Oh my nose.
So, Aaron, I wanted to ask you because, like I said, I do my research, and on the IMDb page, it had a list of some of the things that you worked on. But I've noticed that on one of the shows, it had you listed as Ben Phillips. Now, I want to piggyback off of this because it's like I love to do deep dives, and I was just like, man, there's no way that this is all that he's done. And then when I clicked on Ben Phillips, I was just like, geez, like it was like a whole list of stuff that you've done, man. So, like, what was it? When you first got into voice acting, like what was it that drew you into wanting to do it?
Well, first of all, the Ben Phillips thing, I thought I might go by Ben Phillips at one point and decided not to do that. So that's why you get that. But what drew me to voice acting? Well, like the first time I ever even like considered it, I think was, I mean, I've been wanting to be a performer my whole life, but I remember I was in high school. I've always been a gamer. And I was playing Neverwinter Nights, and
Good game.
great game. And and this is back in the day, Neverwinter Nights. So it's
Mhm.
like old school Baldur's Gate, like top down type
It
situation,
is.
right?
Dungeon
And-
crawl.
Yeah, and so I was playing that, and and all these different characters have real voices going on, and I for whatever reason it had just never occurred to me before. Probably because I grew up, I'm old as the hills, so I grew up with video games prior to anybody actually speaking in them for a while.
Yeah.
And but I was playing through Neverwinter Nights and like hearing all these great voices, and at one point I just said I was like, oh man, like somebody did that. Like somebody got hired to do, somebody got paid money to do that, to make that stupid. I could do that. And, but that was like, I was in high school. I was kind of like, okay, cool. And then I went to their webpage and they, it was about BioWare that does Neverwinter Nights, I think. But I
Yes,
went to like
I
the
think
bottom
you're
of their webpage at the time. And they had like a contact, like if you're interested in being a voice actor in our games, this is how old I am. Send us a cassette tape with demo. Now I'm
Floppy
not
disk?
that old. I remember thinking, that's you guys are out of date. Like nobody, or at least the CDs.
Send in your floppy disk.
Send in your 5.5 inch floppy. And
Yes.
no, so we yeah, so I saw that, and I thought that was when I was like, okay, so that's like a real thing. That's a career.
Mhm.
That's something people do, and so yeah. So and then after that, actually, like the thing that got me into it, was after college. I told you I was living in Korea for a little while.
Mhm.
And the same people that recruited me for that job called me up one day and asked if on my weekends I'd be interested in going into Seoul and doing like ESL, English as a second language, translation stuff for kids mostly. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I went in and, you know, started making a decent little side hustle while I was living there. And it was, you know, it's pretty easy stuff, you know, like the ball is round, you know.
Right,
like,
Yeah.
That sounded so
red.
spot on to what they sound like, too.
Well, it is literally what they sound like in Korea. But so I did that for like the whole year I was there and got pretty good at it. And eventually I was kind of like the English language guy in Korea for a bit. And they even said like they could probably figure out a way to extend my visa and have me stay for a while if I wanted to. But I'd been away from home for too long, so I went home. But I always thought, I was like, well, you know, I got pretty good at that. I wonder if I could make like a side thing with that when I get home. Did some training in LA with William Williams. That's his real name at Aliso Creek Studios. They're great over there. William's awesome. I made a commercial demo and started shopping it around, and the rest is history. And now it's like my main gig.
Nice.
You know, like I said, I do stage work, I do film and TV, but voiceover is definitely my number one now. So it's pretty amazing how that turns out.
Crazy. And you know, thanks to William Williams.
Hey, William Williams.
You know,
For sure. Yeah. All credit to
The
William.
big W.
He got me.
No,
in.
so I wanted to ask you, like, what were some of your other favorite video games that you enjoyed playing when you were coming up?
Let's see. I mean, I've always been a big Mario guy. I think it's just a magical franchise. I think it has hit
Every step of the
everybody at
way.
Yeah,
man. Every step of the
truly.
way.
And they've tried out. They've never been afraid to like explore stuff, and even when it didn't really work that great, you know, at least they tried stuff. And but because of that, they have all these other like, you know, inner franchise moments that are just really cool.
Nintendo like a big family of characters. That's the fun thing about
That's
it.
like the Fast and Furious movies. It's all about
That's
family.
right. It's all about family. That's
What
right.
we need to do. That's the next one. If that meme's not dead already, then they got to do a Mario Luigi one.
I actually sent these guys a video. I think it was from like a year ago that somebody put together. It was a Mario parody.
Yeah.
Of Fast.
that was
So funny. So funny.
Incredible.
Yeah, somebody's too talented. So
yeah, I love those. I grew up with Nintendo. But you know, yeah, I don't know. I've always been really into strategy games as well. Things like Age of Empires.
okay. Ooh.
You know,
There's a classic.
Yeah, I also love survival games. Ark. I don't know if you guys have.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got a couple
played
friends
but
that play
I
it.
know what it is, though.
Arc the
Well,
Lad.
I had to step away from that after a while because that'll just suck you right in. So I did that for a long time, and you know, I think I exist across the spectrum with video games. I mean, I love an RPG like Fallout 3. I think one of the best games ever made.
Nice choice.
The Red Dead games are honestly, and I'm not just biased, but I think Rockstar they're incredible storytellers, and that's one of the reasons I love working with them. Is just because their attention to detail is unmatched, and they just love the story. They love to tell it. So
That first Red Dead has one of the best endings. He said, "I just came to get my daddy's gun back." He just walked off. I was like, classic.
Yeah.
I do have a sort of like a video game piggyback question for you, Aaron.
Sure.
Have you ever played tabletop Dungeons and Dragons in your life?
Yeah, actually, I'm in a campaign right now with some friends.
Send me
I
an
had not
invite.
played. What's that? Well, actually, the DM live streams it on Twitch.
Sick.
And his name is I Am Ghost Owl on there. So anybody who wants to check that out, he's probably got a schedule. He's probably got a schedule so you can like check it out when you want. But
that's pretty cool.
I think we're pretty entertaining. Couple
Such
rounds
a fun
ago,
game.
Couple rounds ago, I ate. We killed a giant living mushroom character, and my sorceress orc ran over and sliced off a piece of it and ate it immediately, and got super loopy. and couldn't talk except through telepathy for the next hour. So that was fun.
That's pretty
I like
sick.
that.
I like it.
Nice.
You can't make that kind of stuff up, guys.
Yeah. Well, you literally can, I guess.
Literally. Literally.
but,
Caught me in a lie.
all right.
That's correct.
So something that I wanted to piggyback off of was, you were talking about Rockstar and Red Dead Redemption, and you had the opportunity to be in both Red Dead Redemption games, and you were in GTA 5. Like, how is it, growing up and, playing these games? Well, Red Dead Redemption, of course, it wasn't out Red Dead Revolver, but that's a whole different game.
Completely different, yeah.
But growing up and, playing Grand Theft Auto, and it's just like, I'm in Grand Theft Auto. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How's that feeling, man?
It's amazing, that's obviously that's an incredible franchise. It's been around forever. I mean, I played, I don't even think it was the first one, but there was one, I want to say it was for the original PlayStation, and it was like a top down,
yeah,
with the little cars and stuff.
Is that
and I actually,
3?
I've been trying to see if I could find that online somewhere, because you know how like they've like transferred a lot of those old games to like sites and stuff,
Steam and stuff.
Yeah, but I've never been able to find it, and I miss it. I loved that game.
I'll send you a link.
Yeah, okay.
Trav says
but yeah, so yeah, I've been playing it my whole life, and so yeah, when I got the call for that, it was really exciting, and it wasn't my first like GTA role, not a huge role, but it was still super fun. And then they've called me back for a lot of little roles all over the place, and I think I'm kind of one of their character guys, which feels good. Yeah. It's a good place to be.
Oh yeah.
It's like you said, it's not really like a major role, but it's like, GTA 5, but it came out 2013, and now it's about to be on the next gen console. So like that's decade of just being and a character in the game, and like people are always just gonna be able to hear your voice. I already know when the PS9 and the Xbox 300 come out. I mean, like GTA 5 is still going to be up there. GTA 5 is just like Resident Evil 4. Like whenever they come out with a new system, those games are always going to be up there
for sure. Or Skyrim, like all those.
Oh yeah,
forever. Like it'll be, the joke about waking up in the cart is just going to go on forever. You'll always be there.
It's just one of those things. Now, to kind of go back to voice acting, because like I said earlier, you were Ben Phillips, and most of the roles that you had, they were like, just the Walla additional voices. What was it because like we had Linda Young up here before, right? And I don't know do you know who Linda Young is?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We don't know each other, but I know who she is.
Okay, so she was telling us, because she voiced Frieza and Genkai, and the older that she had got, she kind of wanted to, step back from playing in the major roles. And, she enjoyed just doing like some of the background voices and stuff like that. So what was it for you when it's just like you were doing the additional voices, and then you kind of started transitioning into getting roles that were of, characters that actually had lines, and they weren't just the Waller characters? Like,
yeah, well, one of the things that we talk about a lot as actors is knowing your type, and being able to, and it's tough when I consider myself a character actor, and so that can be tough because like my whole thing is that I can do a lot of stuff, right? But sometimes you just gotta really lean in when something seems to like take off, right? And we were sort of joking about my characters, at least of late, tending to be very smooth and maybe just a little slimy, and I think I that's just something that I've kind of leaned into now, and also casting and directors and producers tend to like, they hear you do something and they're like, okay, he's great at that, and so then the next time a character like that comes up, you're in their head, and so that that's helpful in getting more work, of course, but it also work begets work, and it just kind of continues that cycle. But yeah, it was exciting to start, just like with any career, to kind of travel up that ladder, and I think I would say the first like big role that I had was actually Rathion in World of Warcraft, and that was Blizzard, of course, and Andrea Toyes, who is the director over there, voiceover director. She's unbelievable. She's an incredible person, and really an actor's director in a lot of ways. Just like loves actors, and that makes it really super fun to work with her, right? As an actor, at least. And I don't know how she treats everybody else, but no,
To the dungeons.
she's very nice. No, she's very nice. Andrea's great. But she gave me that role, and that was really what she helped me get an agent. She was a champion for me, and I think a lot of times in this community and in this career, you need a champion. Not always. Sometimes you get a lot of little things and it builds up, but every once in a while you just get somebody that believes in you, and that can make all the difference.
Hey, that's what happened to Garth Brooks.
That's
Gotta
all you
believe.
need is one person.
There you go.
And
Just
that
need
go.
one person.
Garth Brooks had somebody champion him, and now look at him, became a rock star.
Correct.
Mhm.
They told him he could be anything.
That's right.
That's
He
right.
became a rock star.
Became a rock star. Rhinestones and all, baby, right there in the shirt.
So let me ask you guys: Are y'all ready to get into The Great Pretender?
Hey, yeah.
Of course,
Hey,
bro.
well, D,
trick question.
I'll let you lead the way on this. Go ahead, brother.
Was it fun doing Laurent? Plain and simple.
Hate him. Boring. No fun at all.
Too laid back.
We had a great time.
Yeah.
I think Laurent is a really interesting character. I think all of the characters are really.
Oh yeah, amazing show.
I am a fan of the show. Like if I wasn't in it, I would be a fan.
Yeah.
Nice.
And and Laurent, that was also interesting about that show is that we did that so many productions have had to do over the last year and a half or so, but it was to my knowledge, one of the first ones had like fully recorded in the pandemic. And so we were all from our home studios, and hats off to the engineers especially for having to deal with everybody's different sound and sound quality and room tone and all sorts of stuff. But
They killed it.
Hey, Trav knows.
yeah,
what
they
he's
did
talking
kill
about.
it. I
Yeah,
mean,
they
it
put
when
it
it came
together
out,
so
I could
well.
not believe how great it
Yeah.
sounded. I was
Yeah,
like, it sounds
now-
perfect.
And people, like you just said, people don't understand how difficult it is when you're dealing with that many different recordings and different
Yeah.
places.
Gotta have the ear.
Space is different.
Yeah,
And the ear.
Gotta have the ear.
Got
So
it.
yeah, but it's great, and I love Laurent so much, and I think it's every step of the way you get like a new leaf,
New layers to the
a
character.
new layer off the onion,
Uh-huh.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, that's the fun thing about that story and the way it's told.
Mhm.
Is you slowly, he's kind of duping edamame most of the time, but it's
Yeah.
like slowly you still get to learn who he is and what
Yep.
makes him tick as the
Mhm.
story concludes. So
Yeah,
I
for
thought that
sure.
was very fun. So
Yeah.
because they
Yeah,
kind of beat
incredible.
around the bush with it, but you still get to learn about it after a while.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I
got the
I
floor.
just gotta like shout out to the rest of the cast.
Oh yeah, I was gonna
Alan
ask, have
Lee.
you actually met them? Any of them?
I
In
haven't
person?
met any of them in person.
Oh wow,
Mm.
such a cool project, and y'all weren't
Yeah.
even like, oh,
Yeah,
that's pretty
yeah.
cool.
And this is this goes out. We had several different directors, but like this goes out to I know now I'm gonna miss somebody and they're all gonna hate me, but Stephanie Shea was a producer on that, and also Michael Center Nicholas directed some of the episodes, Michael Schneider, and Kevin McCarley. It was just like such a group effort, and all of like the casting was like just I think brilliant because and it's evident because, and that's not just like I'm not
Oh
just
no,
'cause
go
I'm
ahead.
awesome.
Toot your
But-
horn. Toot
but what
it.
I mean, really, I'm talking about everybody else. So what I'm talking about is the synergy of the cast.
yeah,
And because like when I listened to it, one of the things that really blew me away was the chemistry. I felt
Yep.
like
Mhm.
I don't know, like I just felt like the folks that were supposed to have known each other for years in the show, it felt like that.
Yeah.
And just the relationships that were developing felt real, and that's so important to anybody, to any actor, and anybody watching.
has to be believable.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep, that's
And,
the premise
but
of it.
they just did a fantastic job, and most of my work was with Alan Lee, who plays Edamame, and he's just such a phenomenal actor. And yeah, you should see if you can get him on here if you haven't already.
Oh no, we already had him.
Yeah, he's actually this week's guest.
Yeah, we're
really?
confidence, man.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah,
Amazing.
I was gonna bring him up because when we had him up here, he spoke very highly of the show, and he compared it to Cowboy Bebop. He would say that it's
like this era's
Cowboy Bebop, and I mean, from the animation to the voice acting to the music to
the sound,
the
visuals,
the visuals. It's like the colors. The list just goes on for like how amazing this show is. And me and D, we had this conversation where The Great Pretender is one of those shows where it's a really, really good show, but I feel like it really didn't get that much publicity because a lot of people, they didn't know about it. Because I stumbled across it because when you're watching Netflix, you'll get those trailers at the end of a show or a movie you're watching.
Recommendations.
Recommendation. And I was just like, man, this show, it keeps on popping up on my trailers. I'm just going to check it out. And when I watched it, like I was hooked off the first episode, and I want to say it was when I got to the third episode, like that's when my jaw dropped, and I was just like, "Yo, is this real?" And it's like I told D at the time when we had first watched it, it's like this thing, like it always makes you wanting to come back for more because it's like you want to see what's going to happen next, and like how you were saying, like all of the voice actors, they did a phenomenal job at making you believe, and like that's pinkies up to you because it's like you killed it. Like Laurent was the man. And just see his backstory. I know I don't want to spoil it, but if you haven't watched it, watch it because it's a really good anime. And when Alan said that he compared it to Cowboy Bebop, like I supported that because
I can agree with that.
I think it's just I thought it was interesting, not to just talk about Laurent because he was your character, Aaron, but just the character in himself. It's like he's so laid back and he has so much to do with what's going on, but he's not really doing much when you do see him. And I thought that was kind of very cool. And what it reminds me of is kind of like a Catch Me If You Can. I don't know if it's the clothes or, the constant duping of people, but that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
For sure.
He's never worried about anything.
No, he's just there. He's a self.
He's like 10, 15 steps ahead of everybody.
Always.
He doesn't have to be doing anything right now because he spent, a year getting it all together. That's good. That feels good when you're that guy in the situation when the outcome because you've planned so hard. And now you're just watching it unfold. That's a nice feeling.
And I mean, Edamame, he always thought that he was one step ahead of him. But it's like Laurent was always, like you said, 10, 15 steps ahead. Now, I want to ask you this. Out of all of the cases that were on The Great Pretender, which one was your favorite?
Boy, I think honestly, just as an audience member, like not to do, but to watch, my favorite has to be oh my god, Winter. The
London, when they were in London.
Yeah, Winter of London. What's it called? Snow of London.
Yes.
Embarrassing. Yeah, Snow of London. I don't know. There was some. It just really tugs at your heartstrings,
Yeah,
it was
the love story.
The first two are so much fun, and it's so Ocean's 11, and you're doing, running around and just crazy. Yeah, like Cowboy
very fast paced.
Yeah. And then that one, everything just like the snow, it just goes, right, and you get these much deeper storylines. And for me, when we were doing it, that one's obviously much more focused on Cynthia's character. But when we were recording that episode, I just kept I'd have to stop and just be like, oh, you guys, this is so beautiful and exciting from an actor standpoint, just because the show is great anyway, but then to bring in a dimension of emotional depth that you don't necessarily always get with a show like that. was just really exciting and beautiful. And so for me, it's Noah London, I think.
No, I agree with
you.
With
that music too.
Yeah, that music. You know, like how you were saying, like the love story with Cynthia, because like Dee had said, it's like you got all this fast-paced stuff going on. You know, very cowboy bebop, Lupin the Third, and now it just slows down. And you know, like that was my favorite case. Now, to piggyback off of that, because you said as an audience member that was your favorite one, but what was your favorite one that you did when you were recording?
I have a piggyback question after that too.
Yeah,
Let's hit it with a
it's hard
combo.
to say.
Oh, combo breaker.
It's hard to say, but I think the first case was probably the most fun to do. Just because you're really like learning so much about them. So we're uncovering so many. I mean, you do that throughout the series, but like, you know, obviously when you're first meeting him, it's a whole other bag of tricks, and so it's just exciting to watch each piece unravel and like knowing what's coming and knowing that the people watching and edamame have no idea what's coming. That's always exciting.
Literally on the outside the whole time.
Yeah.
Well, until the last, to the end. We're not gonna give it away. But my my piggyback question is: do you watch anime at all?
You know, I do now.
Funny
is, I was not a huge anime guy. I mean, I'd watched it when I was a bit younger. My older brother got me into it. And you know, so I've watched a lot of like older staples. You know, I've seen Akira. I've seen I mean, I know it's gonna sound
off
like
the top. No, that's a great one.
I knew you were going to say
Akira, but it's amazing. Fist of the North Star, Vampire Hunter D, like these are all like, to me, I mean, and again, I'm not an expert, but to me, those are old school and they're staples. Like that is genre. Like
Fist
that's
of the
what
North
it's
Star,
about, right? Fist of the North Star is incredible.
Yeah, I asked.
When I saw that, I remember my brother sat me down and made me watch that one, and I remember thinking, "Oh, this is what anime is. Like that's incredible."
Be careful.
So that was exciting for me.
And then you saw Hamtaro.
Jeez.
Well, then I just kind of like I stepped away and never got back to it for a while, and then when I started booking, roles in this stuff, and you're deep diving into it as an actor. You get an even deeper appreciation for it, I think, and or at least I certainly did. And so I've started getting back into it recently because of all this, and so that's been really fun too.
Nice.
Now I want to ask, now that you gave us a little backstory on your perception of anime and whatnot, do you have a favorite from your childhood or even now?
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Come on. Stop. Just stop.
I know I was just talking about it, but honestly, Fist of the North Star I think
that's a classic.
Pretty exciting. It's one of my favorite films at all, anime or otherwise, I think.
Yep.
Just really interesting and really
It's a great pick.
Yeah. So that might do it for me. That one's
I like
good.
it. Hey, does it for us too.
Well, because since we're talking about like older anime, did you ever watch Alita Battle Angel?
I have seen some of that since, but I didn't watch it when I was younger. Actually, I hadn't. It just never got introduced to me. But I've been back and watched some of that since then.
Yeah, it's pretty good, man. I mean, it's one of those animes where it's like you can't even find it anywhere. Like, because I wanted to buy it because the live action movie was coming out, and the only place that you could find it at was on YouTube. Like, you can't buy it anywhere, and it's just crazy how like all of these older anime, like Akira, you'll be able to find that, but like Yu Yu Hakusho is another one where they came out with a movie, and unless you have the physical copy, like it's not being re-released anywhere.
Yeah. That's similar vein. Like we are a big Studio Ghibli house here, and the original dub of Totoro, which is hard to find now.
I have it on VHS though.
Do you? So that's the one that my spouse grew up with, and and they don't even like watching the new dub. Not there's there are a lot of great actors. It's just like, you know, when you grew up with something as a kid.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
I prefer the new dub though, even though I have that. Like that is what I grew up on.
Yeah.
But I like the ADR on the Disney dub a lot more than the.
Well, I
older
get it. I mean, I think they're both great, but
Mhm.
because Christy grew up with the other one, we found it. We had to buy it. We had bought a DVD of it on like eBay for like $70. It's like,
Yeah, for sure.
that better be real.
Sometimes.
It better be it.
Hey, they could have got y'all with the it was just the case. You hear stories of people buying,
that
like,
happens.
PS5 and it's just like it's just the box and
Right, or
buy
it was a no. What we're selling is a picture.
Yeah,
of the
right.
DVD.
I've seen that too.
Oh man. Yeah, but sometimes the voice, you know, when you grow up with it, it just becomes like instant nostalgia. You know,
Mhm.
you won't. Some people won't settle depending on the project. You won't settle for less.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, why do they sound like that? You know, but
That's just like, you know, we grew up with, you know, the great cast that we have now on The Great Pretender, but like, let's say that they re-release it 20 years from now and they
Boycott City, baby.
They'd be like, that's
Some
not
punk
my
Boycott
rock.
comes
City.
in.
Hey, boycott City.
Uh-huh.
Hop
It's
in,
so cra-
fellas. I'm driving.
It's so crazy because I just started watching The Great Pretender and I'm like really enjoying it. And we interviewed Alan. I never heard him voice act before, you know? So when I started watching it and I seen his character, I was blown away because sometimes, man, it's like, if you've ever talked to Alan, this dude is chill.
Yeah, his
You know what I
range.
mean? And then to hear him play that character, I was like, damn, this don't
His
even
range.
Yeah, his
The
range and
range,
emotion is
Yeah.
pretty
He's
wild.
phenomenal. He's such
Yeah.
he's
Pretty
such
fun.
a great actor.
Yeah,
Great
it's
to play
so
off
good.
Of, too. Great to play off of. You get so much from his reads.
Oh yeah, that had to be fun.
Yeah,
See,
y'all
it would've
sound
been
like
much
y'all
fun.
did it together.
Yeah,
that's
that's-
how
yeah.
when you're talking about with the chemistry, it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and now we've become friends. We haven't met in person yet, but he's one of my hobbies is I whittle. I carve little
Yeah.
things,
Oh,
and I live stream it sometimes to just like friends and family, and and he's hopped on there and like he and his girlfriend Nicole,
Mhm.
also just a wonderful person. They both they're like my biggest Whittle fans. So they not Whittle, but and so
Yeah.
they they hop on and they'll just sit there for like 2 hours watching me so we've become pretty good friends since then, and we've gamed together a few times, and
Awesome.
yeah, so I think the chemistry is real on and off.
Right.
oh yeah,
Right.
that's great to hear.
Yeah, it's one of those
That's
things, like
awesome.
you said, that y'all game together. And because we had Rachel Glass up here, and she was telling us a story where she had went to a con and she was cosplaying as Bakugo's mom. And she had actually told people, it was like, yeah, like I actually voiced Bakugo's mom. They're just like, yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay, lady.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Has there
Yeah.
ever been any times where you guys have been gaming together and you've been in a lobby and like you just started, I guess being LeBron and Edamame, and like anybody was just like, hold on, I know where that's from.
We haven't gotten around to doing that just yet.
That would be hilarious.
I will say, my buddy Chris, who was in that Lipton Peach Iced Tea thing with me,
Mhm.
Yeah,
do you guys remember the game iDarb that came out a while back?
No.
So
what's
This
this?
That's
is
not
the
ringing a
one?
bell.
the premise is it's real like I think iDarb stands for I drew a red box, okay? And this guy on Twitter like literally drew a red, but was like, I'm designing a new game and I'm going to design it by crowdsourcing the thing, basically. So so far I drew a red box. Now what do I do? And like somebody was like, now make it do this, now make it do that. And by the end of it, it was like this there's multiple platforms on the stage and it's one team against the other, and it's basically like kind of a basketball thing, and you're
This is
blocking-
crazy.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right
it's
now.
really
Yeah.
it's bonkers. And the thing is like the way it's so simple, but like the way that this guy made it, it's like super competitive,
Yeah,
and people get really good at it. And so me and Chris used to play all the time, and you can make your own teams, you can make your own little guys. And so we made Carl and Stu from the Lipton thing, and make your own theme song. You can make your own theme song that plays when you win. And
oh
so
snap!
Literally
that's
went in there with
awesome.
the MIDI editor and made like a doo, doo, boo, boo, boo. It was
Oh,
It's such a
man.
catchy jingle.
It is
Yeah.
like, and it's crazy because it's like, you know, you see these commercials and, you know, stuff catches on, and like some of these commercial characters, it's like they go on to, you know, be these household names, and I'm just surprised because like Trav said, the jingle's really catchy, and it's
It
not
is.
too often that you get commercials where people are actually singing in them, and not only that, but it's just like you guys were actually singing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Well, you know, they said in the breakdown for the audition, I remember it said something like they were looking for a musical improv comedy duo.
Mhm.
So that's pretty specific.
Mhm.
You know what it
I
is?
think that
I
helped.
guarantee you, they saw that Bat Boy, and they said,
Uh-huh.
"We need that guy. We need
That's
Bat
the
Boy."
guy for us.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
You
find the
nailed it,
ears,
man.
find the fangs.
I was telling Trav when after we had watched it, I was like, bro, do you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of like the ending of Forgetting Sarah Marshall,
Mhm. Yeah.
where what was it? It was like the Van Helsing play
Yep.
with puppets. Yeah, like that's
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
what it
Oh,
reminded
man.
me of, man.
Yeah, that is
Um,
very funny. I had not considered that, but it is similar kind of campy, hilarious nature to it. That show is
Mhm.
amazing. If anybody that doesn't know Bat Boy the musical, go check it out. The album is really goofy, but it's so funny. It's so great.
Mhm.
And still somehow like emotional. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you can
For sure.
you listen to the songs and then you're kind of like, man,
I feel
Bat
bad.
Boy. I feel bad
yeah.
for Bat Boy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
That's Larry O'Keefe.
it's really
That's
good.
that's Larry O'Keefe who wrote that alongside some other folks, and he's a hero of mine as a writer. Just incredible work. Yeah. Anyway, Bat Boy.
So you know, something I wanted to piggyback off of, because you said that you're a huge studio. Is it Ghibli or Ghibli? Because I always said the name wrong.
Oh, did I do it wrong? I don't know. I always thought it was Ghibli, but
It's Ghibli.
I also hear people say Ghibli, so I don't know.
Trav, what is it?
I've always called it Ghibli,
Okay.
but because I think the H is silent, but
Like
also
Django.
kind of like Django. But a lot of people just call it G Kids.
G Kids, like that's whack. That's like 4 kids. Like I want.
Yeah, but G Kids is the name of the production company.
I'm gonna call it Ghibli.
Or
So-
I'm sorry, the distribution company is called G Kids.
Okay, so
It's
Aaron,
just
I wanted to
easier.
ask you this because you said like you're huge into it. Which, if you had to choose one film, which one would be your favorite?
That's a tough one. I mean, the one that got me into those movies was Spirited Away,
Mm-hmm.
which is phenomenal. I mean, it's so weird, but I don't know. I'm a big fan of Howl's Moving Castle as well.
Absolutely.
That's just incredible work. But like, I don't know. Even Ponyo. That might be. I don't know if I can. choose.
Onya's so good.
Oh,
too.
it's
so
That's what I
good.
mean.
Like, I wasn't even. I don't know why I wasn't. Like, everyone they release is amazing, but like, I wasn't even expecting that one to like knock me out. And
Yeah.
Right.
And maybe that's why it got in there with a secret right hook. And that was
Well,
it.
also the kid from Ponyo kind of looks like the kid from Totoro, the boy that they're always chasing around with Granny's grandson. Like, I think they did that on purpose. Like when I first watched Ponyo, I was like, "Is that the kid from Totoro?" Like, same cut.
Maybe
same
it
look.
is. Maybe they're same universe.
Yeah.
Some crossover areas. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, man, my
Weird
favorite
stuff
is
happens
always.
in their universe, so it's not that crazy to.
Yeah, my favorite is always gonna be Kiki's Delivery Service.
Yeah,
I
another
believe,
great
That
one,
is
man.
good.
I believe that was the first one that I had watched, like back in the day when I don't know if there's any more Kmart's around, but Kmart, if you went into the electronic department, they would have movies playing on the TV. And like my mom, she always used to take forever in the grocery store. So I would just go into the electronic department, sit on the floor
That's what all kids did.
and watch whatever. And like that was the first time I saw Kiki's Delivery Service.
That's wild.
Yeah, and I thought it was an awesome movie.
And that's so crazy because my favorite is Totoro because it's what I grew up on. I got the tattoo.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think like their best movie of all time is Grave of the Fireflies.
Mm.
And if you haven't seen Grave of the Fireflies,
I have
That is a
not
good
actually.
one.
a tier jerker. It's pretty
Yeah,
much about these
Definitely good.
brothers after World War II after they got bombed over there in Japan and stuff, and it is a crushing movie. You're gonna be crying.
All right, I'm gonna check it out then. Yeah,
tears gonna be coming out.
Wow, I love to cry. So
yeah, same.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay to cry.
Yeah,
same.
Like that Mary J. Blige song. Just gotta cry. Let it all out. Now, I want to kind of get back to the voice acting aspect of the interview, but we can still talk about some of the other cool stuff too. But I wanted to talk about Gundam Hathaway.
Sure.
The movie just came out. Trav, he told us about it. And this is the sequel to Gundam Char's Counterattack. And you ended up voicing Kenneth up there. And like how I said at the start of this interview, it's just like, oh, wow, like it's Laurent in space. Because D, he had hit me up and he was just like, hey, man, have you watched Gundam Hathaway yet? I was just like, no, I haven't watched it. And he was just like, I think it's the same voice actor who voices Laurent that voices Kenneth. And when I looked it up, I was just like, bro, it is him. And another role that you knocked out of the park. I mean, like, it's like you didn't have as many parts in the movie, but you were still throughout the entire movie. Now, like, how was it, like, getting that role and, just being able to voice that character?
Well, that was done through NYAV Post, who, they do lots of great dubs, and they did Great Pretender as well. And so, they I auditioned for it, and they reached out and cast me, and it, it was so exciting because it's exciting to be a part of the Gundam world, even regardless of which universe it is. But it's because it's they have such a deep history to this world, and I think Stephanie, who directed it, she tweeted like a week ago or so that, like, anytime she does a new Gundam project, she has to build in an extra half an hour at the beginning of the first session for every actor, because unless they are like super avid Gundam fans, she's gonna have to spend about a half an hour going through like all the stuff that led to this moment. And she sure enough had to spend that half hour with me. But it's just always so eye-opening, like how deep these things run. And so this, and Kenneth is, I think, a really interesting and fun character as well. And
another laid-back guy.
Yeah. Well, on the surface, at least. But again,
on the surface,
he's a guy that plans. He's a guy that keeps his cards close to the vest.
Chest.
Vest.
I think it's chest.
I always thought it was vest because you're like a cowboy playing poker. But I don't know. And they all wear vests. I don't know, making it all up. Anyway, so he plays his card close to the chest, and I don't know, that can be really fun, I think, for me as an actor, because it leaves a lot of room for mystery, and that's it's exciting. But it's just such an epic film. I think I'm looking forward to the next. I believe there's at least another one. Right?
Yeah, there's one more
Maybe
movie
2 more?
in the trilogy that they announced.
Okay, one more.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to.
Oh, we all are too.
We all are too, man.
Well, especially for it to get such great review. I mean, if you look it up online, I mean, everybody's 10 out of 10.
Praised it. Yeah.
Yeah, the good Gundam fans are.
Oh yeah.
Loving it.
That's awesome. That's real. That means a lot to me, I think, because, like, again, it's such a deep and storied past to it, and I know that people are heavily invested in Gundam. Like, it's a big part of them, and so to know that they're enjoying it, that's awesome.
Yeah, no complaints or anything, man. It's just because we did a review for it, and our biggest thing is that we just wanted to see a sequel, because it's like the way that the movie ended. Because I know Trav was telling us that it was based off of a novel, and that was just how it ended. And I was just like, there's no way that it can just end like this. It's like, we have to see Kenneth.
They got to do something else with that.
We have to see him in his own mobile suit, and we have to see him fight Hathaway. I mean, that's just how we have to see it. I mean, it has to happen. Now, you said it's going to be a sequel to this, Great Pretender. Have you heard anything? Do you know if there's going to be a follow-up? Because I just feel like there's just so much more room for this show to grow, especially with the cliffhanger that we get at the end.
Here's what I can tell you. I don't know anything. If I did, I still couldn't tell you. And but I will tell you this: the number one of, well, I mean, ratings in general help, but so like spread the word, tell everybody to watch it. I think you guys already are doing that, and I really appreciate it. But also just like people watching this, like tweet at Netflix, write them a letter, like write them an email. That's the stuff that, like, they pay attention to that stuff. Fan base activity is like really important. So I'd love to see another season. I can tell you that. That's one of my favorite roles I've ever played. So I hope we get to keep doing it.
100%.
I would love for them to bring the Great Pretender back. I mean, I know you couldn't tell us if you could tell us, or if you knew anything, you couldn't tell us. But
hey, it's part of AD. It's all part of the plan, man. Being a confidence man. That's
that's right.
10 steps ahead, baby.
Oh, maybe he is.
I also think it would help too if Netflix maybe took some animes and made deals with Toonami or whatever and was able to distribute some of their Netflix originals, as they call them, to cable television. Honestly, I really feel like that's why this anime isn't so popular. Like, if this hit Toonami, I think this would rock people's socks, dude. But there's so much anime on Netflix, and Netflix doesn't do a great job of promoting things because they literally got 10, 15 things dropping a week. So sometimes things just get lost in the shuffle, man. And I think like a decade from now, though, people are gonna, like, Great Pretender is gonna become like a cult classic where people are like, it's not like hugely talked about. Yeah, I mean, dude, again, if you look it up, the reviews, they're all like 5-star reviews, but
it's only gonna grow from here.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. 10 years down the road, people are gonna be like, you need to watch that anime because it's flawless. It's perfect.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Well, hopefully we don't have to wait 33 years like we did after Shard's Rebellion.
Right.
Hey, but if we do, we'll be right here doing another episode and level it up.
I'll still be a spring chicken.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, and I'll have the trifocals.
I could do this all day.
Hey, I'll be Robot Banks by that time.
Robot Banks.
Won't we all? Yeah.
Now, the question that I wanted to ask you is, because you do sing, like, who were some of the artists that you grew up listening to who inspired you?
Yeah, I mean, well, so I was, I grew up listening to a lot of oldies and a lot of, and a lot of soul music.
I could tell.
And yeah, and so I think that, all of that really influenced me. Stevie Wonder's, I think, I would never deign to say that I sound anything like Stevie Wonder, but definitely that sense of, I don't know, just that like soulful abandon is how I would refer to it. Just his just going nuts on a track and but like living within that musicality, but just like blowing it up and go and like not being afraid, like fearlessness is like, I think the number one necessity for a great artist, for any great artist, and it is my highest compliment to give anybody as an artist, is that you're fearless, because it takes, you have to be that in order to move past the known and move past the expected, and sometimes you want to live in the expected, right? Like there are things where that's where it belongs, but I think greatness lies outside of that, and there's only one path to get there. And so, for me, Stevie was one of those, but also, I was a big grunge rock kid growing up, so Nirvana and
that Pearl Jam.
I got a music question for you.
Jam. Please.
Have you ever indulged in Iron Maiden?
Oh yeah, absolutely. My older brother got me into Iron Maiden.
Such a good band.
Yeah, D's on an Iron Maiden kick right now.
Yes, I am.
That's all he wants to talk about.
Yep.
I knew that question was coming.
Yeah,
what's your poison right now? What are you listening to?
I've just been literally just Spotifying all of their albums for like the last 2 weeks. It's just, it was one that I missed. I got into like rock of all kinds and music of all kinds early, and I just collected CDs. That's one of the things that I still do now. And that was one that slipped under the, in the cracks, as they say, because I mean, like you said, Nirvana, Rolling Stones, Stevie Wonder's great. I mean, I listen to Roberta Flack. I mean, all types of music. So it was a pleasant surprise that that's one thing that I love about music, since we're here, is that you can always find something old that something old, but something new, Yeah. And it's amazing. Absolutely. And that's one of them, because we did a review for Fear Street a couple weeks ago, or last week, excuse me. Yeah. And well, technically the last 2 weeks. And they used Fear of the Dark as one of the opening songs. It's like the third song, I believe, that plays in the show. And I was like, oh, that's Iron Maiden. And I always imagined them as being heavy metal, just based on their mascot and stuff. But it's more of a grunge rock kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. They were kind of
very heavy.
Were like kind of the
it's very misleading.
Yeah,
and
Rob
it was
Halford
a pleasant
will give
surprise.
you the mark of the beast, baby.
Oh yeah, no question. So yeah.
Yeah.
So now, Aaron, I wanted to ask you this, because you are an actor, and I saw that you did participate in some short films, and you did have some roles in some films. Is acting something that you would like to continue doing? Because I know sometimes we have actors and voice actors up here, and sometimes they'll let us know that they started out acting and then they got into voice acting, and like that's all that they really want to do now. Now, is that something that you would like to continue doing, or get back in it if you're not acting right now and only doing voice acting?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, like, I don't see a distinction between them. It's just another facet of an acting career. And, I've always been, I talk to college students every once in a while, and just about like, careers going forward and stuff they should know, that kind of thing. And one of the things we talk about is that you don't want to get bogged down in the one thing that like you really love to do as an actor, right? Like, like after, like when I was in college, what I wanted to do was musical theater, and I loved it so much, and I still love it, and I still do it. But I was like, that's what I'm going to do, is I'm just going to pursue this. I'm going to get on Broadway. I'm going to do the thing. And then, my career happened and it went in all these different offshoots, but eventually it kind of started to coalesce around voice acting. And so, I always tell young folks that like, don't be afraid to like, I mean, you can always come back to stuff. Like Broadway's not going anywhere. I mean, they were offline for a while, but like it's long-term. It's always going to be there. Right. So like, if that's what opens up for you, then great, lean into it. But like, yeah, voice acting really opened up for me. And so I kind of leaned into that. But I've always been doing, live theater, and I actually have a show called Disney in Concert. That's me and 3 other singers, and they fly us around and we do concert versions of Disney songs with symphony orchestras. It's an amazing gig. I've been doing
that sounds incredible.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for over a decade now, which is crazy. And actually, we're going to Seoul. We're going back to Korea. We do shows there every year, and we're going back at the end of August.
Now, are you guys constantly adding in the newer songs as movies come out?
Yeah, not like it doesn't always happen like that.
Right.
Mostly because Disney is just like very, understandably, very protective of their IP, and so getting a new show approved and like the show order and like all these different things. There's just a million moving parts, right? So it doesn't always happen immediately. But yeah, the producer always tries to add in some of the new stuff to keep it fresh, and we probably got like 5 iterations of the show at this point, which is cool.
Nice.
Keeps us interested too.
For sure.
Sweet.
So a question, I'm glad that you had brought that up, because that was going to be the next question and pretty much my final question for you. But you brought up that you did the Disney stuff, and this is a question that I ask on Who's That Cosplayer, which is a video series that I have on our YouTube channel. I've asked a couple of cosplayers, what are your top 5 favorite Disney movies of all time? And this just animated, because you have some people that are just like, oh, well, that's a hard question because you have the Pixar stuff, you have the 3D stuff. So I'm just asking your top 5 animated favorite Disney movies of all time.
Okay.
In no particular order.
In no particular order, eh? Okay. So in no particular order, because that would take me a minute and I'd be sitting here in silence awkwardly. So that I think. Well, actually, I was just talking about this with some friends of ours. But I think Aladdin is probably. It's got to be. If it's not number 1, it's certainly way up there because.
And you're talking about the remake, right?
Nah,
I am not. No, I Aaron, why did you walk out of that interview? Well. No, I don't know. Honestly, I haven't even seen it. I've heard mixed reviews. But
I enjoyed it.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. But
it's 2-1.
God, I love Will Smith though, so let's keep going.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but like, so the genie is an incredible character, and
right.
And Robin Williams, I mean, that is, you were asking me before, like, what got me into voiceover, and that is another one. Like, I've been listening to those actors do this stuff since I was a kid, and I will never forget the first time I saw Aladdin and the genie came out, and Robin Williams just, I mean, he's even in it before that, but you just don't necessarily realize it because he sings the opening song,
right?
As
Yep.
well,
which they had Will Smith do in the remake too.
Did they?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, so I just think, he was such a genius, obviously, and watching Friend Like Me, which I do in the show, which is so much fun. But watching that for the first time and just listening to him dance around and pull, I don't know if you've ever watched takes of him actually doing it in the studio.
Yeah, we've brought that up before, the behind the scenes stuff. Incredible.
Mind blowing that he just is, because you would think maybe he would do a section and then do a section, and I'm sure they comped it, by the end of it they comped it all together, but he does it live. He just bonkers. So that's pretty amazing, and I think that had a heavy influence on me, and being a character guy and wanting to be able to just spin things around on a dime. So Aladdin. Okay, this is not going to take this long, I promise. I just had to talk about Aladdin.
No, it's cool.
Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast. I just think Belle is my favorite princess. And
did you like the remake of that?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the live? Yeah, the live action.
I think they did a pretty good job. I mean, anytime you're going to do a live action version of something, I mean, that takes some guts. I
think that was one of the better ones.
For sure.
It was
really good.
The best one.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
No, Lion King was the best one.
No.
But that's why I don't say live action, because really Beauty and the Beast is the only live action.
Yeah.
Well,
the other ones are all
action.
CGI. I mean, Aladdin, but what's it called?
Jungle Book.
Lion King's just all CGI. It's not live action.
Jungle Book.
They didn't train those lions?
Jungle Book isn't Disney though. It's not a Disney specific IP.
Oh.
All right, hey, it's getting touchy in here, man. So let's just keep it moving.
Getting deep.
Hey,
okay. So Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin. I mean, Little Mermaid's amazing.
Yes.
I think.
Trav can't ask you how you feel about the live action of that yet, because it ain't out yet.
Yeah. Is that coming? Is that happening?
Yeah.
I think next year. I think.
It's not by Disney though, so it's not a live remake of that movie. Again, Disney doesn't own Ariel and the Little Mermaid.
Old,
right, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Honestly,
The Rocketeer.
It
is a
not
good
an
movie.
Animated film.
Yes.
But yes, The Rocketeer is
great
amazing.
movie.
No, I was gonna say I really loved Moana.
Yes.
And also, I forget if you said something about Pixar and what's off limits, but I mean, the Toy Story films are amazing
For sure.
But Up is, I think, one of the greatest animated anything's ever done. The story is amazing. Yes, very sad, but the first 10-15 minutes of it, God. That's a gut punch right there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Lion King, obviously. I mean, Lion King is a masterpiece of
Absolutely.
any kind of art to me. I mean, every single piece of it. We do a bunch of that in the show as well, and it's always so thrilling because we get to and you're playing with like a full 80-piece orchestra directly behind you.
Right,
you know, and
that's
they're playing
incredible.
they're playing like Circle of Life, and you're just scream singing it with 3 other people to the crowd, and you know that's an awesome feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So
I do want to butt in with 2 things though.
Please.
I love that you brought up Moana, because when you were talking about the Robin Williams doing it in one take, The Rock also did the same thing when he did all of his songs too. Like there's behind the scenes stuff of him doing it and Lin-Manuel like in front of him, like singing it with him, like them doing it together. That's amazing. Really cool to see.
Well, he's the Rock. I mean,
yeah. I mean, and also, I don't know how much you know about, the music side of Lion King, but Hans Zimmer actually went to Africa and recorded actual people playing African instruments and then brought it all back with him to the States to do the soundtrack.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So that's how authentic the soundtrack is.
Yeah. And I think it's it's Swahili that they're singing in the background.
Right,
as well, right?
Yeah.
The Ingonyama Nengwanama which I will know for the rest of my life because
I was about to say, I'm glad you know it.
Yeah.
I still don't.
But yeah, that's incredible. Lion King is just so phenomenal. Everything about it is incredible. Did you know that? Oh my gosh!
I hope you're about to say what I think you're about to say.
I don't know.
Is it about the skull?
About what?
Is it about the skull?
Oh, come on, Banks.
Oh, that I don't know. I'm not
Get
sure.
off them Facebook
He's
memes.
about
You go first, then I'll tell you.
Okay. Jeremy Irons. That's what I was thinking. So Jeremy Irons, who voices Scar, got he started to lose his voice, I think, about halfway through, and so actually he wasn't able to finish Be Prepared. And so the person they brought in to record Be Prepared was none other than Jim Cummings.
Wow.
I'm sure you guys know, but anybody that's watching that doesn't know, Jim Cummings is the voice of Winnie the Pooh, Tigger,
Yeah, that's crazy.
Darkwing Duck, a number of other amazing icons from our childhood.
Yeah.
And I actually got to work with him once because he was in, I forget the character's name, but he played like the main panda in Mists of Pandaria in World of Warcraft.
Oh, okay.
And now I've been a huge Jim Cummings fan for my whole life. I remember going into the studio, and I was in New York, and oftentimes they've already pre-recorded some people's lines, and so you're playing off of those pre-recorded lines. And so I got in, and I'm like looking at the script, and I'm kind of getting ready, and Andrea, who I mentioned before, is like in the cans talking to me, like getting me ready for the scene. And truth be told, I was not listening as hard as I should have been because I was like still organizing my script. And she was like, okay. So anyway, are you ready to go? And I was like, yeah. She was like, okay, I'll play the first line and you just come on in. And and I'm like, cool. Okay, here we go. And you just hear like, well, you'd better come along because blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, I knew who it was immediately.
Right.
And rather than deliver my line, I just started giggling. And she's like, okay, cut. Everything okay? And I was like, yeah, that's Jim Cummings. And she was like, oh, yes. I'm so sorry. I thought I said something during the setup. Yes, that's Jim Cummings. So that was like super exciting for like little kid Aaron inside. That was fun.
No, it's always cool. Because we had Jason Minoka up here, and he voices Megatron on the new Transformers animated series that's out. And he was telling us, because he's a huge Mark Hamill fan, and he can do a spot on Mark Hamill impersonation, just like how you just did a spot on Jim Cummings impersonation. And he said that he had the opportunity to work with him, but like you said, like the lines, they were already recorded and whatnot, but still just to know that, you're in the same scene with him. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's an amazing feeling. And the Lion King thing that I wanted to bring up was, I saw this video where they said, what happened to Mufasa's body after he died? And this guy, he recorded it and he looked it up, Googled it, and hyenas, they don't eat lions, right? And so he checked. He was just like, well, what eats lions? And lions eat dead lions. And then there's a scene where Scar is in his cave and he's playing with a lion skull. And that would mean that
it's just the skull. It's not a lion. That already got debunked. It was not a lion skull. It was too small to be a lion skull, is what they came out and said. So I'm saying you can't be following these Facebook memes, bro.
Hey, I mean, you never know, man. People, it's like they do those deep dives, man. I mean, well, look at Shrek, for example. Remember the Three Little Bears?
Right. Oh, yeah. Now that was crazy. That blew my mind. That blew my mind. The Three Little Bears stuff with the mother bear.
And the mother bear was in Farquaad's.
She turned out to be the rug. Yeah. I was like, I never noticed that as a kid.
Stuff in those movies.
Yeah.
You just look. But yeah, like that's all the questions that I have for me. Trav, D, did you have any final questions? D, I know you got the final question.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. Man. No, I it's not a question. It's just again, I just have a vast appreciation for theater work and the things that you've done. And man, you're an incredible talent. And I can't wait to see, what happens for you in the future, man. Going forward, I can't wait to hear you more stuff, man.
Thanks, Trav. That's really nice. I appreciate that.
Yeah, ditto. Now,
here we go.
No, okay. So first and foremost, did you have a favorite 80s or 90s movie growing up?
80s or 90s movie?
You can pick one. You can give me both.
I mean, I'm a big Back to the Future fan.
Oh yes,
for sure.
We all are.
Yeah, so is Banks. Yeah, because has something he's actually seen. What about? Okay, you're off the hook tonight. You're off the hook.
You keep trying, man. I've seen these movies.
I've gotten you a couple times. So yeah, look at him. Look at him.
What happens?
It's a little inside. It's a little.
I'm trying to remember what times that you've asked the question, and like I have
when I first started it. Before I started announcing
Banks just ain't never seen anything.
It's just a fun little inside because.
What about Twister?
I've seen Twister.
I love Twister.
Good movie.
What was the movie that had
Speed was a good one.
Speed's
Have you
great.
seen Speed?
Speed too.
I've seen both of them. What was the movie that had Natalie Portman in it and she was pregnant and her baby daddy was a country singer and she ends up falling in love with a librarian because she has the baby in a Walmart or something like that? Y'all remember that? It was based off of a novel.
Bro, I thought we was going to talk about Black Swan.
I thought he was talking about one of the A Star Is Born because that's been remade a few times.
Like 4 times. No, the last one had the last one had.
Yeah, but I'm saying there's like 3 of them prior to this, so that movie goes pretty far back.
But Portman, she's been in a lot of stuff. So
no question, easily. Next question:
Is Twister your '90s pick, or are you just saying it?
You go
or Speed. I like both of those a lot.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
Speed. Look, I watched Speed 1 about a month ago. I forgot how good that movie is.
Speed 1 is fantastic.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Speed 2, on the other hand,
it's not bad. Hey, William carried that. William carried that, bro. He looked crazy the whole way through. He carried and he did stage work too back in the day.
Yeah,
I think that's how he started. But next question, my favorite question. Did you have a scary TV show or movie that really spooked you out growing up?
Yeah, my parents let me watch Aliens.
Nice.
Way too young. I forget how old I was. I'd have to look up. Do you guys know off the top of your head when that came out?
Alien
70s, right?
Alien was no, it was because Alien I thought was 79.
That's what I was gonna say.
So Aliens probably came out 83.
That sounds right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I could have been very young.
79.
So,
yeah,
I think I was probably like 8 or 9 years old or something.
Oh wow! You go outside to play. You start running too fast. You think something's about to burst out of your chest. That's not cool.
Yeah, Aliens was 86. So yeah, that's what I was saying. Because there was a good
wasn't right when it came out. Because
there was a big gap
from the video store. So, but oh god. Yeah, I just remember like really wanting to stay up and watch it and like I convinced them to let me stay up and they were like, I don't know if this is going to be good for you. And I was like, I can handle it. Yeah. And then I'm going to say I spent a good 3/4 of the movie with a pillow over my head. So that one got me.
You'll be surprised
Yeah.
how often we hear that answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
That's
real.
I
A lot
think
of
the
people
second or
say-
third time we've got.
I think this is the first time somebody
Phenomenal
said
movie, yeah.
Aliens,
Yeah.
but we get
The
Alien
franchises
a lot.
come up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
All fun answers. There's
It's
no wrong
amazing and
answer,
it's
that's for sure.
terrifying.
And it
Thank
still
you.
holds up.
Alien
still
Isolation
holds
is one of
up.
the scariest games
Yes.
I've ever played.
I just
Because it's the
watched
practical.
Alien. I just watched
Mhm.
Alien for the first time. I want to say it was like a couple of years ago, and it's still, like you said, it still holds up.
Laughing.
I got scared when I watched it. Aliens wasn't as scary as Alien.
I think
Like,
because
It was
Go
more
ahead.
action, whereas the first one,
Right, it was more
well,
action.
I just think that the first one has that it factor. Like once you've seen the chest bursters once, you know the drill when they get somebody.
Right.
So it's like it loses some of that edge to it.
Yeah, and Alien had the build up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Of,
you know what I'm saying?
Of the
Like-
actual Alien.
Yeah, but you
They're not
didn't
gonna
even
do
know
too
what it
much.
was, yeah.
So
Yeah, also too, that movie that Natalie Portman was in was Where the Heart Is. That was the name of the movie.
Thanks.
All right.
Yeah,
Hey,
okay.
hey,
Yeah,
you
I
never
know
know-
because
thanks.
it's been bugging me. I'm just sitting here
Hey,
like,
yeah.
what is that?
Hey, you never know. Like somebody who's listening to this episode or watching,
They're not here for that.
like
Yeah,
they'll
they
be
ain't
like,
here for that.
watch, hey, look, they'll hop in the comment section and they'll be like, it was called Where the Heart Is. Like, how the hell do none of those guys know what that movie is?
Well,
called?
we're a nerd podcast, so
Hey, well, it came
spoiler
out.
alert.
Hey, look, I'm
What
just,
genre is that? Since you're looking at it.
Drama.
it is action and
Oh,
RPG movie.
And that's
Oh right. Just thank you.
No, it's a drama film. But no,
Well, I know. Spoiler alert. Go ahead and take us out of here, Banks.
yeah, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Aaron,
Wait, can
thank
I
you
say
so
one more
much.
thing?
Oh hell yeah!
Oh, go ahead. Hey, go ahead.
You can say two
Okay.
more things if you want.
Well, we'll see.
3.
Don't let me get too
All
carried
right.
away. But
All right. You can go 4. All right, just this once.
twist your arm. No, I just wanted to say
Yeah.
that my band in high school. Okay, I was in a few different rock bands along the way, but my most prominent band was called Level Up. And,
Hell yeah.
And so when I saw the name of the podcast, I was like, "Oh, I'm doing that."
Oh
This is gonna be great.
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Now, what
sweet.
did you play?
Fine. I was just a singer.
Are you
I
the
play
singer?
I play guitar.
Oh.
I play the keys a little bit, but
I thought he was gonna say the Ripleys. You know, like
Yeah, please.
yeah, no, I don't do that one. No.
nope. Your hit single was Chest Burster.
Just
That's right.
Jeez.
man.
Super
No,
metal.
but-
Super metal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but again, Aaron, thank you so much for joining us up here, man. It was a pleasure having you on.
absolutely.
Oh,
Before we let you go, let everybody in social media land know where they can find Aaron Phillips at.
Yeah. First of all, thanks so much for having me on. This has been a
yeah.
great time. You guys are awesome. Yeah, hit me up on Twitter. Aaron Full Lips. Embarrassing. And yeah, there's a Facebook page. Look up Aaron Phillips on there. You'll find that. Aaron Phillips Photo on Instagram. I'm also a photographer. You can check that
Nice.
out too.
Nice.
Yeah, and keep watching. We're having a great time.
Nice. Thank you
Nice.
again. Hey, D, let them know where they can find you at in social media land.
First and foremost, Aaron, thanks for joining us. Take these with you. And you can find me at rebellious_D23 at Instagram.com. Trav?
That's right. And you can also find me on the Instagram at ZK Audio. Shoot me a follow on the Twitter at TRAVIOSZK. And of course, to my gentleman in the tie, where they going to find you at, good sir?
Hey, you can find me, the confidence man, Benjamin Banks, at KingBenji_Banks on Twitter and Instagram. And then you can find me on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Thank you again, Aaron, for joining us up here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And like I always say, keep that pinky up, stay positive. We'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Peace.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.